Buonasera a tutti, oggi siamo all'inaugurazione della mostra Summer Art Florence dove espongono artisti internazionali che grazie alle loro opere ci danno un po' un assaggio e rievocano in qualche modo l'atmosfera estiva. Infatti sono tutte opere che si caratterizzano per un'accensione cromatica, per la grande fantasia, interazione creativa e per il desiderio di spazi sconfinati oltre i limiti fisici della tela. Ora siamo qui con l'artista Blay Berger, un artista originario di Baltimora e che risiede dall'isola di Malibu, al quale voglio fare qualche domanda riguardante i suoi lavori, in particolare la filosofia di vita che riflette nelle sue opere e soprattutto quando è che ha cominciato a dipingere e se c'è qualche episodio in particolare nella sua vita che l'ha portato a intraprendere la carriera artistica. Hi, Blay Berger. So I start with some question about your artworks because I noticed that your artworks reflect your philosophy, your vision of life and the world. So I would to ask you which is your philosophy of life, and in particularly when and how did you start to painting? I mean, was there a particular episode that approached you to painting?
Right. My philosophy on life basically is, I just want depth, I want meaning, I want passion, and I want fulfillment on the deepest level, right? And so there was one pivotal moment in my life. It was in the 11th grade when I read Thoreau's Walden. And in that book, he wrote, I wanted to live deep, to suck out all the marrow of life, to put to rout all that was not life, so not that when I had come to die, I discovered that I had not lived. And from that point forward, I basically started to look at my life and see where I was heading and sort of see like a bird's eye view on it and see the projection. And was it what I wanted? Would it lead me to that deep sense of fulfillment and meaning that I wanted? And I wasn't sure. And so I really started to think about those things, and I started to read a lot of books, and namely Henry Miller. Like, I read everything he ever wrote, and just his view on life kind of jived with mine. It was all about freedom and the life of an artist, and it was raw. And I started to read a lot of books, right? I just started to devour books. And at some point I was dealing with existential issues in my own spirituality and religion, and so I started to read a lot of spiritual books, and I relate with like the Eastern philosophies, with karma and everything happens for a reason, and just viewing life in a cyclical fashion rather than in the West there's a beginning and the end, and I just can't relate to that. And so yeah, I think everything happens for a reason, and and then just the Eastern philosophies like Buddhism especially, you kind of work on yourself, and you meditate and you find that inner peace, and then you're able to actually help the world.
Okay, thank you very much. And so about the second question in particular, so some particular episode in your life.
Right. I was at school in California, and I wasn't really getting much out of college. I had done all my GEs, and then I had to figure out what major I was going to do, and I didn't know it, so I was going to be a history major. I thought maybe English, but I sort of get my own literary education, and I wasn't much into poetry, so I was set to do history. And I went to the first day. of those classes for that fall semester, and I kind of just, it wasn't for me, you know? You kind of feel it in your gut, like, this isn't right, this isn't the path I'm supposed to be on. So I went home, and I remember calling my mom, and she's an artist, and I said, listen, Mom, like, I think, you know, I'll either just kind of drop out of school altogether and leave the country, because that's kind of always been the end goal, or I'll be an art major. You know, I always kind of felt like there was something inside me that could pull it off. It was always there. And so I went back to school, and I, you know, I went to the administration building, and in 15 minutes, like, I was set up. I was an art major. And then I went into my first Drawing 1 class. And then I met Joe Pesentine, who, he's my art god, you know? In the same way Henry Miller is my literary god, Joe Pesentine's my art god. And he's just the happiest, just go-lucky guy ever. And I remember when I saw his paintings for the first time, it was just straight out of my dream world in the most utopian sense, you know? And I think he is the greatest abstract expressionist artist ever, and I stand by that. And so, yeah, from there, it just kind of, you know, I was taking art classes, and then this whole thing came about. It was senior year, and we had to do a senior show at the end of the year. And I kind of said, Joe, like, you know, what am I going to do? How am I going to stack up to these lifelong artists? And so I showed him a picture of a drawing on a surfboard I did of a Balinese god. And from that point forward, like, I started putting acrylic paint on surfboards and sawing them up, and you know, composing them in larger, you know, compositions. And then at some point, I stopped using surfboards altogether. And you know, he was smart because he set me up with the medium I was familiar with, and I slowly became a painter. And now, you know, I just do paintings on canvas, and yeah, I use acrylic and enamel. So.
Very interesting. Thank you, Blair. Ora siamo con l'artista Clara Senà, un'artista di origine parigina, autrice di queste belle foto alle mie spalle. La fotografa innanzitutto utilizza, diciamo, la fotografia come mezzo per intraprendere un'indagine artistica incentrata sulla condizione umana, e quindi io vorrei fargli qualche domanda riguardo al suo concetto di fotografia, cioè in particolare a quello che per lei dovrebbe significare o essere la fotografia e ciò che non dovrebbe essere. Hi, Clara Senà. What is the photography for you, and what should not be instead?
It's the photography for me. It's first image, an image, a scene, characters, and that is all. But after, there is a choice of using. For me, I put colors, lights, contrasts to give, in evoking question and emotion in my pictures, with a concern for the aesthetics. You understand? My English is very bad, very bad.
No, don't worry.
And each message and each photography, there is a message. I capture through the photography a scene, personnage, objet. And I think in my head, they are assembling to build up a scenario. You understand?
Thank you. quindi per la nostra artista la fotografia è prima di tutto non una mera registrazione di un evento naturale, ma è soprattutto una via di scoperta e di indagine, e ha sempre un messaggio al suo interno. E un altro aspetto importante delle sue opere è il tempo. Il motivo per cui alcune fotografie sono così sfocate è proprio perché l'artista vuole dare questo senso del tempo che sfugge. Quindi vorrei che ci spiegasse qual è il suo significato del tempo, e soprattutto quello che lei ritiene essere un po' il valore che la nostra società dà al tempo. So about the second question, some photos have a strict link with the time. What's the value of time for you, and what's value given by our society according to you?
I have not very understand. You speak of a bride, the photography. Yes, I have made photographies and another series, and the all photographies are bred to increase the velocity time. Here is not. Here is a photography at night to increase the mystery, our doubts, and our fantasy and fantastic. We need fantastic. It's very important.
I agree.
And in concern me, the time speed is an inability to catch up with our mistakes, and inability to realize things very important our existence. Important, I think, is only where we are of the way of dying. We know if the live time was essential. C'est la condition humaine.
Thank you.